Hello, our lovely Girl Awakening listeners. Welcome to 2023. I'm Jo Hendy from the Sacred Sister Project.
I'm Amanda Parker of Mayala Organics.
Come with us as we journey into this week's Awakening episode.
I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Jo.
We have another lovely guest today with us.
We do. And we've been talking with our guest since last year. She's very busy and life is busy. But today we're going to welcome Julia Zieto, international model, mother, fempreneur. You'll understand why we use this word fempreneur later as we walk with Julia. She's a very motivated person who is gracefully juggling all that is life when you have your own business and a young family. Recently, Julia added TikTok to her list with investing her voice in navigating this crazy avenue of social media world and channeling good into the space that is so influential. So we're going to dive right in now and welcome Julia to Girl Awakening.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. And we're going to ask straight up, how or when did your awakening begin, Julia?
I think my awakening started in 2017. I think it's really when I woke up. It was a really sad moment in life. I was told these lines, and I don't really tell people this, only the closest people know. But I have an active wear business, which I started when my little one was 6 months old.
And it's named after her, isn't it?
I named it after her. Yeah. It's spelled slightly different, but I did it for her. And so in 2017, I was told that I would never be anything. And it was the lines that, like, it's like so deeply rooted within me, like the hurt. And it was something like, I will never invest in your business. You are nothing. You will never, ever be anything. And that came out of the mouth from my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time. And I had poured my heart and soul into this business. And he had just invested $140,000 into a yoga studio, to some random woman's yoga studio. And here I am, like, heartbroken and shattered. And it was at that moment in time, I was like, said to myself, I'm going to build my business. I'm going to build it so well. I'm going to leave this marriage. I'm going to take me, myself, and my daughter, and we're going to go. We're not going to tolerate this anymore. And that was in 2017.
Wow.
Big.
And that was like my turning point. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that are resonating with what you're saying and how powerful that can be when you make a decision, you know, for yourself and when you have a family, for your family as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was like, I didn't make the final decision to pack my bags until 2020.
Yeah.
So there was a good 3 years and a lot of like work and healing in between to even get to the point of where I wanted. Like I thought I would be mentally okay to leave this.
Yeah. So you made the decision in 2017, but did you just make it as a self decision kind of thing? You didn't actually say or go into any kind of action around that, or you just, it was like, I need to work out how I can get myself out of this.
There was a whole process. I was probably at my lowest mentally. I was in a narcissistic relationship. I was told every day that I was ugly. And when you're told every day these nasty words, it's ingrained into your subconscious. And when you look in the mirror, it's those voices and like they've become your reality. So that was my reality at that point. I was like so down and so broken mentally from this other person that I trusted and I thought loved me. It was then that I was just like, it was an awakening for me. Like I was like, I got to do something about this. So I it just took me that long to get out of my headspace mentally, to work on myself mentally. I had to learn how to love myself again. It's very hard.
Because the reality is that voice that we have inside us isn't always loving either. And then when you have that person outside of you, that person who is supposed to stand in front of you and share joy and share love, as you say, being narcissistic and controlling you through mental manipulation, it's very destructive in ways that you can't even imagine, isn't it? So I can understand what you're saying about the time it takes to kind of build up strength once you make a decision, to build up strength around the action part of it.
It takes a lot. To have an inner voice that was stronger than the voice that I was hearing on the outside.
Yeah. Powerful words. Yeah. And I think that's the awakening right there. You know, you have to reach deep inside and find something that's stronger inside of you than thinking that noise or that person is the strongest kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's a big step, and very powerful, especially for young girls. I know we mentioned TikTok. You know, this is your area that you love to motivate people in. Yeah. And there's so many young girls that are getting caught up in the wrong area, and this is happening to them, you know, and it's like we need to express more of this type of communication on these platforms, so girls go, okay, wow, you're beautiful, yet you still had someone saying this to you and you felt that way.
The thing is, it happens to a lot of people. It's not just me, and it's not in just one area. Like, it is out there, it's just not spoken about. We're so used to having this wall up where everything is perfect, what you see on social media is perfect, and everything that's not perfect is sort of like hidden. You don't show these things.
Yeah, I think more and more people are. I think we're waking up to that as well, where people are getting honest about where they're truly at, because you just can't hide it anymore, really. I mean, it's not working for anyone. More conscious people anyway that are realizing that I can't keep hiding this bullshit, you know, facade that I'm okay when I'm not. Yes, it is hard work.
You know, to have that, all your energy poured into a persona, and then when you're at home behind closed doors, it's a different reality. You know?
And I think it's a lot of conditioning. Like, it's a lot of generational conditioning. Like, you just
so true.
Keep it behind closed doors.
No, absolutely. And I love that you just said that, the conditioning, because that's so powerful, because even the thought of being vulnerable means being weak. And, you know, we're starting to learn that being vulnerable is extremely powerful.
Oh, it is.
And there's so much freedom in that. It's just getting out of your own way to allow that to happen. But that's the conditioning. It's wild. Crazy.
Well, so that would have been a very intense 3 years then, travelling, you know, from when you heard that
voice.
Well, you heard, you know, you were confronted with that deep cut.
That was, I think, for me, it definitely was the knife in the heart. But like, at the same time, you know, the good part of you still wants to see the good in others.
Yes.
So you're still there trying to fix things, trying to change yourself in a way to, like, make it work. And sometimes it just doesn't work, and you have to say, hey, you know, I've tried everything, and I can't sacrifice myself anymore. Like, I have.
It's because we've been talking lately also about the power of no. And the things that you say no to, like, it's been resonating deeply, hasn't it, with us? Like the things that you say no to, and sometimes that realizing why you love someone enough to marry them isn't always enough to stay with them. When it's not right, and it's more power in saying no, and how it benefits both of you.
It does.
You know, to free.
A big believer of having strong boundaries. And now I am.
Yeah.
I preach it. I will go, like, if it's unsolicited advice from me at this stage, I will go and tell people, like, you say it as it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you've had to experience that and come through it to be able to sit here and say that now, you know. where, you know, some people when they're in it, even when you're telling them, it's like, you know, they're not going to hear it.
Yeah.
Siri agrees.
Siri agrees.
Okay.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so you have to fully experience that to be able to then...
You have to be ready. I think you have to be ready, and you have to be in a point where you actually can see it. Unless you're ready, you're not going to see it. Like, I was blind.
Yeah.
And I look back and I look at myself and I wasn't ready. And it took me a lot of things happening to be at this stage where I can say, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. That's really powerful. The other thing too is you would have probably had friends around you that were saying, you should probably leave, or why do you want to stay? And at that stage you're like, I just want to make it work. Because there is a part of you, I can tell, that's motivated and, you know, strong in herself.
There's a real
that
Amazon.
Would want, that would want to try and make it work. You know, the failure thing wasn't a thing for you. It's like, no, I'm going to try and make this work.
Yeah, I think so. I think no one ever wants to have like a broken marriage, a broken family. Like, that was me. I was the one breaking the situation. Everyone was like, leave. When you say leave to a person, it's not that easy.
No.
You know, it's not that easy when you have children. It's not that easy when you have a businesses, houses. It's not like,
we can just go.
No, there's a massive process in actually separating once you're married. And it's not just that overnight, oh, see you later, I hope you have a great life. It doesn't work that way.
Shake hands, walk out the door.
No.
And then he would be so kind to you and just give you whatever you wanted and be free for it. Wouldn't that be wonderful? One day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one day.
to have like...
It's a lot easier to say, hey, it's not working, leave.
Yes.
No.
Conscious breakups.
Yeah. So
That would be great.
I'm interested to ask, like, over the next 3 years where you were still in the relationship but you'd already made the decision, was life chaos in those 3 years?
It was absolute chaos.
Yeah, because I was going to say, once you make the decision, the universe conspires to give you what you need.
I've never heard this before, but go on.
Yeah, so the universe will, when we make a decision or an intention, let's call it an intention, the universe goes into action for us straight away. So you've made the decision to leave, but you're staying. So it's like, it will be like giving you lots of lessons.
It was so many. So many.
Because so tell us about that. What was some of the things that you were learning about yourself and about, you know, where you were at that time?
I just think every time that I stayed, it got worse.
Yeah.
It just kept getting worse. And you think, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, I'm like, hold up. It's been 3 years. And this is far worse than what it was.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing, and I'm quite spiritual, and I know you're very spiritual as well, I had this invisible pull. And it just got stronger and stronger. And it was like I had to take baby steps because I didn't know what to do. I was so lost, and I just took baby steps, and it started off with just starting to pack up our house. And we had a massive house, and we have a lot of things, and that's overwhelming just thinking about packing all of that. And like when I started packing things, all of a sudden the thought of actually leaving was a bit easier. And it was just another awakening was the day that I left.
Absolutely.
And that was probably the start of the end. There was so many things that happened in that day and then that month to come that was like, it just sealed it. Like I could never go back.
Yeah.
The door shut on that part.
It was just so sealed.
So definite.
So definite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did things start opening up for you once you left?
Crazy. It was just crazy.
So beautiful. Yeah. So
it was insane how the universe had my back.
Yeah.
I'm speechless till this day. How everything just unfolded in a way that it helped me.
Yeah.
And it helped me so much how everything just worked out that it actually scared the other party. He was scared of me and what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing anything. It
But
was
you
just
were.
it was just the way that
Yeah.
things happened.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
really beautiful and a great one for our listeners. It's the first step.
It's the first step. And I can't say it was easy. It was so hard.
Yeah.
I cried every day for 3 months. Every day. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw me crying. I'd be crying in my car. I'd be crying at my house. And then I would wipe my tears. And I would go into a teacher interview. And I would sit down and be the mum. And just sit there professionally. And I would go home and I would cry on the way home as well.
Yeah.
You know, just...
The things we do.
You just don't
Yeah.
see this part of what happens.
Yeah.
And it's a very, sometimes, and you know, this is what we're talking a little bit before about the social media aspect, like this is a very, you know, for people who are very private, it's some people who are living on social media have no issues sharing that with everybody, for better or worse, you know, how it helps people, or you know what their motivations are around that area. But you know, releasing all of that emotion, releasing all of those years, releasing all of those conversations, you know, all those tears. It's like something you have to do to kind of release yourself a little bit more, isn't it? To free out in yourself what you've been holding to.
Emotionally purging.
Yes.
And like you hear about these things, like the trauma is actually stored in your cells, in different areas of your body. I spent a whole year with aches in my shoulders, my hips. I thought I was like having arthritis, and that's where the trauma and the pain was coming out of, all my joints.
Wow.
I was in so much pain. I was limping, and I was like walking up the stairs, and I
Feeling like an old person.
I felt like an old person, and that's where the trauma was stored, and that's where it was coming out of.
That's
my
so
body.
cool.
It's insane.
That's not cool, but what you're saying
No,
is
but
so
it's
cool
so
because
very-
people
Insane,
don't,
right?
they separate out from that and they start to go, it must be something I'm eating, or it must, and it might be, but hey, no, hang on a minute, you're going through some heavy stuff and your body's wearing it. Like, you know, you had
it
the world
carries
on
it.
your shoulders, so you like your shoulders were sore and
And walking through so much
You
shit.
don't,
Yes.
You don't wake up and you're like hop out of like years of trauma.
Yeah.
And you're okay.
no.
Yeah.
It has to physically come out of your body in all different weird ways.
Yeah. And we have to step in, you know, it's hard to hear, but sometimes we have to step back through it too.
Yeah.
And you have to feel it again to be able to clear it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
oh,
crying.
haven't I been through enough?
Yeah.
I don't want any more shit. Go away. But it's like you have to face it to be able to clear it. Yeah.
And then realize that you don't have to do that again, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a power
or
moment.
you are so ready that if it ever happens again, it's not a big thing.
Yes.
It's a little thing.
Yeah.
I find that with everything that I've been through now, like little things are very little things. You know, it has to be so big for me to even react or respond in a way. Like
So your stress bar, like your
Has
your
lowered.
pain point is way up here now.
My
Like,
pain
you know,
point is
nothing really
here.
comes up that high.
Like if you want to get under my skin, you're gonna have to do a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like my tolerance is
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing though, because you know, how wonderful is that to go through life and be able to know that you got through that yourself on your own, and that now, you know, I know now that I can handle things, you know, that come my way that might be a little distressing. I know that I've got it.
Yeah. And I think the lesson from that is that we're all capable of getting through it. You know, like it really sucks when you're going through something really horrible, like in any sort of situation. But if you just keep going day by day and have your end goal, like you'll reach it at the end. And the universe has this way where it lays out this path for you, and it's not like what you want, it's what you need to get there. So I think if you find the joy in the moment,
That's a beautiful.
you'll get to the end
Mm.
and get through everything that sucks.
Yes.
Because there are some sucky days out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
Because you
So
did
beautiful.
a vision board or something, didn't you? Like, you created a vision board
I
or
did.
a list? Yeah.
In 2020. And I laugh at this, and I laugh at how outrageous, and I've always been wild
Yeah.
in a way, like creative.
You're a powerful woman.
Creative,
Yeah.
like I've always dreamt big.
Yeah.
I've always dreamt about things that are not in existence, but if you look at my life,
Yeah.
it always works out.
Yeah. Yay.
And I laugh at that because
Yeah.
I'm like, look what I can do.
Yes.
And I'm like not the brightest person ever, so
You don't have to be. You know, that's
but
not
I
even a
can
part of
make
it.
things happen.
I'm
Yeah.
laughing because Julia is actually, she's a very smart person, but it's like if you're talking about
Not
it, about
like-
degrees and pieces
Yes.
of paper and stuff, I know what you're saying. When
Like,
I just want to share that you are a very bright person.
I am smart, but like my sister's a lawyer, so like
Yeah.
you're not going to put me in that category. Like I've got a double degree. I'm not.
Okay,
not
well there you go. See, go
uneducated.
girl.
But this vision board. So in 2020, and at my lowest, not the lowest, 2017 low. That's a different low. Mentally low.
Yeah.
This is me with a better mental headspace. 2020, leaving the relationship, walking basically away with one bag and basically almost nothing.
Yeah.
Made this vision board, went to IKEA or Kmart and got like a cork board. And I would sit on realestate.com.
Yep.
I don't know.
Real.
I don't know if that's normal, but that's what I do. Go through the houses that I love.
Yeah.
Home sweet home.
Beautiful houses. And I'm like, that's my house.
Yeah.
And it was like this beautiful white mansion on the river, on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can see myself there. Printed it off, put it on my vision board. And then I printed off a photo of me and my daughter,
Yeah.
cut it out,
Oh, yay.
stuck it at the front door.
Yeah.
And then I've got like the inside lounge. I've got like a few photos of this house
Yeah.
that I like love. And I pictured myself in this house
Beautiful.
every day.
Yeah.
And then I found another house that I also loved. And I cut that out, put it on my vision board as well. And I put a few other things on my vision board. And when I bought a house in early last year, and I forgot about my vision board for a while. And when I looked at my vision board, and it's in my office now, but that house, the first house that I put on my vision board,
Yeah.
is 100 meters on the same river, like to my right.
Wow. How cool is that?
And my house is the same color,
Yep.
same aesthetics,
Yep.
Yeah.
same river. We're like neighbors.
Wow.
We're neighbors.
That's so cool.
And then the second house, this is the crazy part. The second house that I put on my vision board is what my house aesthetically looks like.
Ah.
So the first house was like my location, and
Yes.
the second house is,
The look.
The look.
Yeah.
Wow.
and this was done in 2020, and so in 1 year, I manifested this house.
You got
Unreal.
yourself together,
Yes.
and you manifested
That's
where you
so
could.
cool.
Yeah, and this is me
Yeah, this is pretty
from
amazing.
nothing.
Yeah.
One suitcase, basically.
Walking away from my marriage, from everything, with one suitcase and all my bank accounts wiped,
Yeah.
to purchasing my dream home.
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah.
Like, people are speechless.
Ah,
I'm
yeah.
speechless.
It's so cool. I mean, it's what, you know, if you...
What is possible.
yeah. That's what's available, what's possible. I think we've cut off that space where we limit ourselves
Yeah.
of what we can potentially create.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Joe Dispenza at a seminar with him, and he was speaking of this same principle, like the vision board, but training your mind basically to see yourself in this space. And he gave an example of his daughter and a friend walking through the mall, and you know what they how they manifested some pretty fun stuff. He's a incredible inspiration for how real this manifesting creation energy is. And what you're talking about is, you say, like in 12 months you went from one space to another space,
And,
And
this
giving
is
yourself-
like insanely different. Like, you couldn't even compare the two.
to the what you know, the details.
Yeah.
No, it's well done, because it's a lot of belief in yourself and everything as well to achieve. Just even getting up in the mornings and navigating, life, busyness.
Like, not every day you want to wake up.
No.
But you have to make that conscious choice. Do you want to get this done, or do you want to sit in the same spot? And I made the conscious choice of, I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that comes with what you've just been talking about. The power in creation is you have to go into action. It's great to have the vision board, but you can't just do the vision board and then put it somewhere and not go into action around it.
Yes.
It's going to happen for you.
Yeah. You have to go into action around it. I think that's really powerful, and that's where your motivated essence kind of just drove you.
I don't know if it was driven or if it was a pull. Sometimes I can't tell.
Yeah.
There was that pull, and I can't describe it. It's invisible. Like, it's something that's just pulling you towards something. And I followed it. I trusted it. I followed it. I'm like, it knows where I need to be.
Yeah.
I love that, because some of the most powerful people we've been speaking to, and I'm talking about powerful as in energy and their connection to the source and how much they trust. They talk in this way of, it's already done.
Yeah.
And so it is.
I think it scares a lot of people. Like, how much I trust scares people. Because they can't see it.
Or they want a plan.
You need a plan, right? And I just have this trust that it is there. Like, it's waiting for me.
Yeah.
So I guess you're backing yourself, isn't it? Which I think is sounding pretty.
It's like jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
And knowing that you'll be okay at the bottom. Not that, don't physically do it. Just don't do it. Yeah. I wouldn't physically jump off a cliff, but metaphorically, it's like you know you will be okay.
We basically did that when you walked out on your marriage.
I was just thinking, if you flip it, if we just flip the whole experience and we just look at it all as energy, it's like you being in that marriage and it being so shit.
Yeah.
Was you not standing in your full power. So
I think I needed this marriage.
Yeah. To realize how powerful you are.
To teach me the lessons I needed to have to be this person. This person wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everything. I think that is the most powerful thing about it, was I wouldn't have been who I am today if I wasn't given these things that I had to overcome. So I appreciate, I actually weirdly appreciate my marriage, and I appreciate like my ex-husband and like everything, the good and the bad is what has led to this.
So that's that, that graciousness around forgiveness, isn't it? And actually giving thanks for the lesson. Like, it's not easy to do when you've had pain or hurts.
No, but I think it's powerful. Like, if you can find the gratitude in everything that's happened to you, it's a very powerful place to be.
Yeah. I know Zara talks about this a lot, which is another lady that we had in the podcast, the last lady. She talks about seeing everything as a gift. Everything that comes into your space. The worries, everything. Look at them as an opportunity for you to take it as a gift and use it to your advantage. Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer. Like, people, like, you have people that come in your day.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
But that's one of our questions is, we've sort of kind of moved through a few of them, but then, like, obviously you had to give up a lot when you left the marriage, but was there also people that you left behind in that space? Other people?
I'm very blessed. I think I've always had a quality over quantity. So I had a really small handful of friends, and it does cross your mind when you split everything and you feel like you will lose your friends and people, will not want to be around you anymore. And I was really blessed. I had the most supportive friends. My family were really supportive, and I don't think I would be who I am without their support. They were amazing.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate I didn't lose any friends.
That's amazing.
That's so cool. That's so beautiful. That's a reflection of who you are. You know, really. Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful attribute to have for you. You know, just to realize that you're still whole in itself, and people still love you. Nothing's
They
less.
see you the
There's
same.
no less of you. Yeah, they see you the same.
I think I actually learnt a lot more having them in my life, and them being so compassionate and like so loving and giving with advice and everything. Like, it made me appreciate
Yeah.
everything so much more. I was like, wow, it's really the small things that really matter. I'm like, I don't have much, but I've got you guys.
Yeah, oh, wow.
And
that can take someone lifetimes to realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually didn't even click to me until like I actually met up with my ex-husband, and he's like, you have nothing. How are you so happy?
Yeah.
And it was true.
It's kind of sad because he must feel like that he needs a
He
lot
thought he
of
was gonna
things
win.
to make him happy. And
That's the thing, because
yeah.
he took everything from me, and he purposely made me suffer, and he's watching me, and I'm not suffering.
Yeah.
In fact, I went polar opposite, and I was like the happiest person
Yeah.
you could ever find. And it was because I found the joy was really in the little things.
Yeah.
Family,
Yeah.
friends, small moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And found you, I guess.
That's really
found it,
beautiful.
yeah.
Found
Yeah.
sitting at the beach
Yeah.
and walking on the beach, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, reborn. I was like, how did I not feel this way before?
I know children play a big part in that too. I think, you know, well, there's a few different ways you can look at it. I mean, I had a short separation from my husband, and I remember I was just like, I've got 2 kids. That's all I need.
Yeah.
You know, I just was like, I'll just do anything for them. And whether that's, you know, me as well, but because of them, I was just like, I'm just going to go for it.
It does bring this fierce
Yes.
energy. Like, it's this motherly...
I love that word fierce. You just said that.
It is.
That's this, yeah.
The things you do for your children,
Yeah.
and like if you make a promise to your child,
Yeah.
that promise is very strong.
It's funny, isn't it? More than
Yeah.
you promise something for yourself.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
100%. And I said to my little one, I said, Mummy's going to buy you a house. And I was like, I will not let her down.
That's a
like,
big commitment.
that's what I woke up every morning, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let her down. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the things that was driving me, was the
Yeah.
promise I made her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy what we would do for our kids.
That's the connection to the heart space.
Yeah.
It's you can't
It's
disconnect that, or you can't take that away. It's bigger than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when I think
It's
of
the
it,
biggest gift
you
in
kind
life.
of like vision like this like lioness and they're like cub.
Yeah.
Like, that's the energy I reckon.
Yeah.
Like every
So
mother
true.
has.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes
and
it's a process to feel that because of, you know, the mother's journey, or, you know, there's so many factors sometimes around becoming a mother. But it's a core energy there, you know, that is just
Instinct. It's instinct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you'll just go miles for them. You'll do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And that's a beautiful something that we can hook into when we're feeling down too, even their energy. Because, you know, our kids have purpose with us as
Yeah.
well. They
yeah.
have big purpose. They're big beings. We need to allow them to be able to step into that as well when we're on our journey as well.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, we didn't talk about, did you notice anything, like when you were going through the awakening, let's just say we're now, you've left your husband, you're now in your own world, and you're creating all this magic around you and everything's kind of happening. Did you notice any shift in your thoughts about the world in general? Did you notice anything happening because you were kind of realizing, oh, there's so much more to me than this physical world?
Yeah.
Things are happening.
Things are happening. Did you notice anything around you? Like, did you notice anything about the world or your thoughts?
Because it's kind of a big time in the world, wasn't it? Like from 2020, like
was.
it just like
COVID,
yeah.
There was a lot going on at the same time. A lot to process. I think you just wake up about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think I learned to trust my gut, my intuition more. And sometimes when you look at what's out there or what's being fed to us through social media or the news, and then you sort of step back and have a different view of what's going on. You're just more awake, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think like we had a couple of conversations through that time, and there's a person that's coming to mind as one of those friends that was there for you to fall back on. But I think one of the biggest things that I saw with yourself was that you trusted yourself and backed yourself and listened to yourself. Like the strength I saw in you blossoming was quite, and one of these words that's one of our favourites this year, the discernment. Like you were very discerning where you put your energy and where you put yourself.
Yeah.
I think that made things very clear for you as well, didn't it?
I think I learnt to protect my energy, to not be around anything that felt draining. I'm very, very selective now.
Yeah.
I won't stay longer than I need to if I don't feel there's a good vibe. I'll be like, hey, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And cut it real early.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've got to learn to become more discerning, don't we, when in those situations.
You're not selfish if you're, like protecting yourself and your mental space.
Absolutely. I agree. That's a really beautiful piece of gold there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Me too. Oh, well, we've heard about a lot of the things you had to change. We've really kind of jumped through lots here, haven't we? And it's been really lovely. What do you do now to support yourself for staying in the moment and staying true to you? And we know you've listened more to your intuition and flow and all of those things.
Yeah.
What else do you do?
It's a constant juggling act, I think. Just trying to navigate through the world. I take a lot of time for myself, and I'm unapologetic about it. Like if I don't feel like doing anything, I'll sit and read a book, and that's me. That's my life. That's what I feel I need at this moment of time. So I'm unapologetic of what I do with my time.
Yeah, time is precious, hey?
Yeah, and I spend a lot more time in nature than I used to, and I just disconnect a lot more.
Yeah.
That's very restorative, isn't it? Because again, I think we've been in the last very short few years, it's important to kind of, even though you feel plugged into yourself, to actually invest in yourself in that way, in an energy sense and in a restful sense and a restorative sense.
Yeah.
Before life springboards off again. I mean, because you're still really, really busy with your daughter's life.
It is
hectic.
Hectic.
School and your business.
Yeah.
It's not saying like you're not doing anything.
No.
It's like you actually just going, in amongst the busyness, I'm finding little islands of peace,
Yes. No, life is still very chaotic. But
a good chaotic.
It's enjoyable. I think I enjoy everything that I do. And if I didn't enjoy it, then I usually wouldn't do it. So
you can
reassess.
No.
Yeah.
Other than the things that have to be done.
Absolutely. Something popped up then, now it's gone. Do that. It's quick. I was looking at you thinking that's a really good question.
I'm sure it will come up again.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, because because I know Julia, there's another element that I want to talk about, and I hope you're okay with this, is because you've been on this journey of discovering Julia and backing Julia and stepping out into the world as Julia. Yeah. Which is pretty...
It's a new identity, isn't it? And it's quite confronting to go from this to...
Because you're a private person, you still have this very public aspect of your life through what you share on your TikTok channel and how you choosing to motivate others. Yeah. But you also, you had a very big experience a couple of years ago with losing a big chunk of your family life. Yeah. In a very way that not many people get to experience.
That was very traumatic.
Yeah. Your intuition was running big at that time too, wasn't it? Like you were getting called.
I don't even know. Like, I think sometimes it's a blur, sometimes it's not a blur. Like, I think our body does this thing where when you're in a lot of pain, it blocks it out.
Disassociation.
Yeah.
Where you separate out from it.
And I find now, and I go see this beautiful kinesiologist, and she helps me with it, because like I have triggers, like things do trigger me, and my body shuts down. And you work through it, but you don't know what it is until it happens.
Yeah.
So we're talking about my dad, right?
Yeah.
So I lost my dad. On Father's Day, I went to visit him, and I found him deceased in the house.
Oh.
And it was so traumatic.
Yeah.
It was a horror movie equivalent. Do we want to go into the story?
If you actually
want
want
to hear the story,
it's very powerful. Like it's bringing up a lot for me. And I think a lot of people have experienced, probably not the same, but just through the loss.
Yeah.
But if you're okay,
I'm okay with it now. Like it's been. So this was September of 2021, and I hadn't spoken to him for a while because we had a fallout, and it came to Father's Day, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to put it behind me, and it is what it is. I'm going to go see him. I'm going to give him a present and see how he's doing. And I was previously like mostly really angry with him. He said some things that really didn't resonate with me, and I didn't speak to him for a while. And this is why I will preach, like, no matter how angry you are with someone, just still have a communication with them, because you just don't know when or where. So Father's Day, I get to his house, and he's got this beautiful acreage property, and he's got peacocks.
Oh, wow.
Well, they're not his, they're wild.
Yeah.
But they just
amazing.
There's so many, and they roam.
There's the energy there, it's their kingdom.
So it was really weird, because I walked up the driveway and I was bombarded with maybe 50. You don't usually see 50 at a time.
No, wow.
There was on the front lawn, there was like 50, and they all walked towards me. I have a video of it, because I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Look at these beautiful creatures. And they were walking around me.
Wow.
And they were all just all around me. And I was videoing it and thinking like, wow, this is so beautiful. And then after 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go to the front door, because I must look stupid now, because I'm sitting here with my phone videoing these peacocks. So I get to the front door and I'm knocking. And the car's there, so someone has to be home, right? You can't be out if your car's home.
Because out in the country, you don't just walk around the street.
You can't. There's no buses or anything, and there's no answer, and there's this smell. And I'm thinking, okay, well, sometimes birds and animals sort of die and smell like that. So I'm looking around going, well, what's that smell? And then I'm knocking and waiting for another few minutes, and nothing. So that's when my stomach sinks. I get out my phone and I call him, and it goes straight to voicemail. And then my stomach sinks a little more. And so I'm sort of freaking out at this stage. And I'm a massive chicken. People don't know, but I'm scared of the dark, and I'm scared of a lot of things. And I'm walking around the house, knocking on all the windows. Now at this stage, I'm knocking real hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, hello. And every window. And it would have been the start of spring, but there was flies on the inside of the house. And that in the back of my mind was that's not normal, because there's no flies on the outside.
Yeah.
So I get around to the lounge room, and I'm peeping in the window, and I just see this figure that was not even human anymore on the lounge. And I didn't look, like, it was like, looked, and then I looked twice, and then I just started heaving. I like my body like just wanted to shut down. I called my sister, and I couldn't even speak.
Understandably, honey, understandably.
And she's like, Julia, what's wrong? And I'm like, and I'm like, I couldn't even get a word out. And I'm like, you need to come now. And she's like, what's wrong? Well, what's wrong? And I'm like, just heaving, and I'm choking on myself. And I'm like, just please come, just come. This, you know, Dad, just, you need to come now. So that was that process. And it was, after that, I was so traumatized. I would jump at like anything that was not unexpected, because like I didn't expect that. So anything that wasn't expected, I would literally jump out of my skin.
Wow, that's...
It's not something that you ever, you know, in any aspect of life. I mean, even,
the fact that you went there on Father's Day, the peacocks, I mean, that was obviously him. Like, how amazing that happened.
It was 100% him.
And that you stopped and videoed it and experienced it. I think that's just so beautiful.
And it's like, it's something my dad would do. Like, he had this quirky personality where he would think it was funny. Like, this year that passed, 2022, around the time of his passing, so we maintain the property now. It's a lot of work. So I've turned into a gardener.
Oh, beautiful.
And
it's good for the soul.
It actually is so good for the soul. Like, it's good. It's great. It's very hard, but it's, you know, it's rewarding at the same time. But the neighbor has this giant pig. Did I tell you about this story?
I love it.
It makes me laugh because, like, 100% my dad would do this.
Right.
And, like, I've never seen this pig up close. It's bigger than me. It's 150 kilos.
That's so beautiful.
And so we're on this property, and I'm, you know, cleaning up. I have my little sister there as well. And this pig comes up to me, and her name's Chelsea. And she opens her mouth, and they have big teeth. Opens her mouth right about my legs, and I thought she was gonna bite me. So I'm like squealing, and I'm like running across the yard, going and
she thinks it's a game.
She thinks it's a game. She starts to chase me.
Apparently, they're the most friendliest things. Like the free range pigs these days are like. Just like kids.
So I didn't know that. Like, this to me was like random.
Attacking me.
A pig chasing me around the yard, right? And I found out later on that Chelsea lives in the house and plays this game with the other, like, they've got little children. And she's so friendly, and she plays this chasing game.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. But this happened during the time of his passing, like a year on, and Chelsea has never otherwise come onto the property.
Right.
And the neighbor, when we spoke to him, he came and took her back. He's like, she's never done this before.
Wow.
Like, never has ever come onto the property. And she, like, for a whole week, she was there. She went through the garage. Like, the garage was like upside down. We're like, what the hell happened here?
Chelsea.
There must be something in your dad wants you to find.
Absolutely,
Well, Chelsea went through everything.
Wow.
Like, she ripped boxes apart. We thought, like, people had come through. But, like, she came through and ripped the place apart.
That's so cute. I love that you just keep calling her Chelsea too. It's so beautiful.
Chelsea the pig.
That's it's a traumatic story, but also it's just so beautiful too. What's come of that, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's like, it's hard. It was so hard for me.
I can imagine.
And I think I grew even more having gone through that. Like, at that point, when I found him, something clicked again, like another pivoting point in my life. And I think I quantum leaped in that stage where the next month I bought my house. And it was the fact that if this can happen, if I can walk in on Father's Day and this can happen, anything is possible. And I held that for like, a month, 2 months, like anything is possible. Like I don't believe anything is not possible now. Like everything is possible. And then
Wow.
found the
And
house.
for you to use your intuition to go there, that just blows my mind too, after not speaking to him for a while and then just randomly.
That's how I live life, though.
Yeah,
That's how I do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put reasoning behind anything I do.
Love that. Yeah.
It's people literally think I'm weird. Like, my family think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But if I have a good feeling about something,
Yes. Yeah.
even if it doesn't seem like the smartest thing to do, and I
Yeah.
might be like everything reasonably would say don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and do it.
I love that. I remember
Explore.
listening to Lady Gaga once talk about naivety.
Yeah.
And she said it's your biggest asset you can have, because that naivety can bring you the biggest gifts.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, just what if it feels good but it doesn't seem right to other people?
Yeah.
Don't
Who cares?
overthink
Follow
it.
it.
Don't overthink it. Yeah.
If it wasn't meant to be, it wouldn't feel good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel like you can feel danger. You can feel danger and you can feel like something feels good and something feels bad. If you always follow what feels good,
That
I
feeling.
reckon that is your alignment. Like
Yeah.
that's the path of alignment. And
Yeah.
as crazy as it can be.
Not on
Yeah.
this podcast. That's not crazy.
No,
Absolutely not crazy.
But to my lawyer sister, who I love and adore,
Yes.
Yes.
thinks it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no reasoning behind it.
And the more we do listen, it's like a muscle. It gets stronger and stronger and
Yes,
stronger.
yeah.
But we need to trust to be able to build that
Yeah.
strength. Yeah.
And it's like refinement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that feeling which you follow, and another feeling which could be mistaken as the right one. Like you know which one to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful and so true.
Because
I love
that
that.
is the thing. Which voice is the real voice? Like, when you're trying to connect with your intuition, and the mind's, or the brain or the conditioning is
Ego,
stronger. The
yep.
stronger voice. The ego is the stronger voice.
Yeah.
And the intuition's this little faint, or we're not used to
Yeah.
trusting that voice. Developing the hearing, and takes a lot of practice. So
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And it's a lot of self-awareness. And I think letting go of ego helps a lot.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think ego stops you from a lot of things. It stops you doing a lot of things and feeling stupid or feeling what other people will think of you.
Yeah.
None of that matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think the only really good thing that ego's useful for is, protecting us from danger, or, sometimes that can help us from knowing when we're in danger and not.
the healthy ego.
But everything else is like, throw it out. I love that last one you just said about, looking stupid or looking dumb or bad or wrong or whatever. It's like, we need to step out of that
Yeah.
concept and start looking after us, and what you've done and the way you've done it has been so beautiful, that you've just literally just kept going and kept following it and strengthening
Moment
it
to
and strengthening
moment.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to each individual life, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, because it's your journey, it's your life. How you're going to get to where you want to get to it's not going to be like everybody else's. And I think that should be okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to follow everyone else.
It's so true.
There's that classic little meme that you see of like two people standing with the bubble, and it's like how I think I'm living my life and I'm going to get there, and it's like A, B, C, D lines sort of following, and then there's this other person with the bubble, how I'm living my life, and it's like squiggles everywhere. But the biggest smile on their face because they're experiencing life.
I think
and
life really is
how it
like,
actually happens.
how it happens. That's where the fun is. Like going through this, because you laugh.
Yeah.
Like you laugh at everything dumb you've done, right? And you laugh at everything that could have gotten better, and like everything else is like, it was an experience.
It's like, let yourself off the hook.
Yeah.
Stop self-sabotaging. It's like, it's time to have some fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a great example of
Yeah.
that.
And I think that's where you're like coming, like where your TikTok channel kind of, because is that like, explain a little bit about how that came about for you, like why you've chosen to express yourself in that way?
It's weird because I only started TikTok for my business.
Yeah.
Which is because you haven't shared that.
I haven't.
No, so tell us about your business.
So I have an activewear label, and I absolutely love designing. So
What's the label called?
It's called Sahara with an X.
Yes.
And it's out there. I think it's out there like my personality. But
Zara. I mean, Julie is sitting here in Zara, and it's an animal print, which is
it's
all my
like,
thing.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
This is probably like toned down compared to everything else I have. Like it's just a lot of prints.
I love.
Yeah. I have my lemons.
Oh,
So
is that?
the
Oh,
Julia's,
that's my favourite on her. That's her all over, the beautiful bright lemons.
Yeah, it's like everything's bright and out there.
Love it.
And I like sit there and I like find joy. I can sit for hours and design.
Yeah.
It's something that comes naturally. Like I close my eyes at nighttime and patterns come through.
Unreal.
And I think I just channel patterns and design.
Yay.
And sometimes I can't stop it. Like it's annoying. I can't sleep. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and like my brain's designing this pattern and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll write it down. And then I'll put it down and then the next day I'll go and design this pattern.
Unreal.
And then I'll put it on activewear and then I get to see it on women.
Yes, I love
very
that.
cool.
Yeah, and it's like, I get to empower women through activewear, through my designs
and that's what comes through.
And I want to see I want to see women step into their power. I want women to feel good about themselves. I'm not one for like a trendy design that's going to last for, like, I want people to feel good and look good, and that's where
you're a great advocate for that because you've walked the path, know, and it's like that will come through. And I think that's what you were about to explain about your TikTok.
Yes. Yeah. So it started with the business and I was learning it for the business, and then I started a personal page and I was, just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And then I just stepped into this, like, I don't know where it's going. I feel like that's just me trying to empower women. My way. I don't know if it's the right way, but it's what I've been through.
It's the right way if it's your way.
It's what I want to, like, the things that I've been through and like what I want to channel for other women, because there was one stage in my life where I was scrolling and crying and wanting to find what I needed to do, how do I get out of this situation, or what do I need to, how. So for me it's like, if I did this, I want to give back how I got to where I am and how I'm doing things my way. So empowering people.
That's so beautiful. And I think that's part of the journey, isn't it?
Anything that resonates with me, I share it.
Yeah.
Giving
Sometimes
back, isn't it?
The giving back,
Yeah.
There's one that you say that always sticks in my mind, and I can remember the overall tone of it, and it's about if you pay all your own bills, or what's that one?
That one, I think, infuriated a lot of males. And I think it was in a way where, like, it's one of the viral TikToks, right? It's like, if a woman pays over, I think, 1,200 a month in bills, she's not interested in in brackets, what you're doing, which is like, like a male texting her, hey, what are you doing? Like, she's in the context, she's too busy to be interested in that. And I think a lot of people miss the part where it says over 1,200. So a lot of people think, oh yeah, that's not much a month, but it actually is like anyone that pays that and over, like that and over, is just too busy creating their life to be bothered by, like a simple text saying, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, hey girl, let's have a beauty call, or
I think I saw that. Now think about it. I think does
a lot of people misinterpreted it.
Right. But I didn't know you at that stage. I didn't know what you looked like. I'm pretty sure now that you're saying it, I think I saw it. But would it have been on Instagram? On Reels on Instagram?
Not unless it was shared.
I think it might have been
Yeah.
shared because sometimes it comes up like TikTok, doesn't it? And the reel comes through on Instagram, but it's someone
yeah.
might have shared it on
Is it was like me sitting at a restaurant, and it was like it could have been someone else's.
Right.
But I was like in a red coat, blazer coat, and it's but it could have been
Okay.
the same sound with someone else saying it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And this kind of leads
Yes.
us into that fempreneur, because basically it's like, you know, you're self-sufficient, you're working hard, you're providing for yourself and your family. You know, you want quality interactions and communication and relationship. Don't just kind of flick me a message and go, are you available?
No, we're not
You know,
available.
But it's not a feminist
because it's a
thing,
booty
is
call,
it?
basically, isn't
it's
it?
not
You know,
a
it's not like
feminist.
it's
No.
just
No,
like
it's just a powerful female.
It's
yeah.
just a
I'm
woman
doing
who's
stuff.
doing stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
I've got a child to raise, I have businesses to raise.
Yeah.
I still want to grow as a person. So unless you bring value or you schedule a time, look, I've got 1,000 things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm here, but you know, and it's about respect as well too, isn't
100%.
it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
almost
powerful.
like when people say, I want to protect my energy, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
in somewhere, I'm going to put a white light around me, I'm going into this space, I just need to protect my energy. It's almost like that, but you're just verbally saying it, where people react to that.
Yeah,
It
it's
offends
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It offends males and females.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it can change one person's life, I'll
Yes.
put it out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because also that's another thing that women don't always give themselves credit for, is like what they contribute or
It's
what they achieve.
It's
you know.
what, like, I looked up to people in a place where I was vulnerable. There are people I looked up to that I was like, wow, if they can do this, then maybe I can too. So if I can inspire one other person to take control of their life and live it to their best ability, then I'm making a difference to one person.
I
Yeah.
agree, and I think we've become a world where how do I say this without offending anybody?
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
You can't please everybody.
But you also, you know, we're allowed to have a say about what
Yes.
we believe in without being torn down
Or judged for it.
Yeah.
And people have become so
Opinionated.
and oversensitive, you know, like when you
Yeah.
say something, it's like you're actually saying it to them, and no, you're not
just
saying
saying
it to them, you're saying it because it's your belief.
And it will resonate with the right
And
people.
your
Absolutely.
And your
Yeah.
experience.
And it's not your responsibility to go
No.
and make up for the people that it offends.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people need to just be able to take what they need and drop what they don't, you know,
I think
and
the
move
people
on.
who really do get offended are the ones that think that everybody needs to be under the one umbrella.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're not all meant to be the same.
absolutely. And I think that's the gold in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to be different. It's okay to want different things. Like we don't have the same path.
There's no rule book.
We should not, like, I'm a strong believer of, like, everybody should have the right to do what they want in their own way. Like, I don't ever force anything upon anybody.
Yeah.
But I think the people who are the most judgmental are the ones that are like, you should be doing this. That's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
no qualifications behind it.
Yeah.
Are
Because
the ones you get the judgment from.
and it's probably mostly because they really want to do that, but they don't have the confidence
Yeah.
to step outside and
So
try it. So they're like,
Projecting their own.
yeah, which is like,
Limitation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ideas
it's
and-
like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the spirit of it, really. When you
Yeah.
look at, if you're reading too much into it, then you're kind of densely attached.
Yeah.
And that's also what came up for when you shared that, was like coming from a narcissistic relationship to actually realizing that you can create your own reality,
Yeah.
and that means paying your own bills, or you know,
Yeah.
asking for quality relationships.
Like, I'm so
That's
proud.
an amazing
I'm
place
so
to
proud
sit.
of that.
You should
like,
be, honey. Absolutely. I think
and
it's
I want
fantastic.
other women to be proud of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, we unfortunately do have a lot of women who are in these relationships, and I was financially abused. And
Yeah, controlled.
going out of it, I realized how many women are in the same position as what I was in.
Yeah.
And the fierce mother that I am wants to help others. I want other women to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't have to put up with this.
Yeah. There has to be a time too, I think, where you decide whether you want to stand on the side of being the victim
Yes.
or stand on the side of taking back your power. And
Yeah.
that's a big one. So we can stop blaming and we can stop pretending that, you know,
Yeah.
we're a victim and playing that card, or we can draw the line and say, no, I'm taking control of my life now. And I feel like that's where you have
You have to.
you have to
You can't play a victim
yeah
and get anywhere in life.
no
You have to take the mental switch and take control.
yeah
There's not an ounce of victim mentality left in me.
No.
And when you are in like a narcissistic relationship, you do become, that mindset is your
absolutely
dominant mindset. It's like a victim. And you have to really learn to control it, suppress it, get rid of it.
yeah
It doesn't serve you.
that's a huge one for any woman to be able to
Yeah.
walk through and come out the other side of.
It is something that we are conditioned as well as women.
Yeah.
We're expected to, you know, play this role of mother. You have to be a good mother, and to be a good mother, you have to do X, Y, and Z. It's all conditioned.
Yeah.
So we're going against conditioning right now.
Yay.
There's lots of places, what you're just describing, lots of places to hide mental, emotional
Yeah.
abuse in those roles, isn't there? Like lots of places
100%.
to explain away
Yeah.
behaviours. But then if you put it into different words, if you take being a mother, take being a wife out of the situation, and it's just two people, do those behaviours still work? Well, usually no.
Yeah.
So what,
I
if we put a label on it, like being a mother or being a wife, why does it still work?
Yeah.
So you kind of, I think when you for whatever reason, like this is where giving thanks for the lessons comes in so powerfully, to have that opportunity. Something in yourself just breaks to a point where you can't break anymore, like as you described, and then to go, okay, that power woman inside you just steps in and goes, okay, no more little girl.
Yeah. And it's weird because I feel like when you make that decision, then it just becomes so clear.
Yeah.
It's always a pivotal point. I can visualize every pivotal point in my journey. And it's always, just one message that's just gotten across to me, and that's resonated so deeply that it's made me make a change in like a small habit.
Yeah.
That's led to another pivotal point, and it's like a slow journey. Yeah.
They're almost like flags, aren't they? That you go back to and I remember that time.
Yeah.
And that decision was made then. I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really beautiful. We're going to move on to the last question.
Woo.
How do you see the world now, and what is next for Julia?
I like to see everything through rose-colored glasses. I think spent so much time conditioning and training my mind to only see the good in people, and sometimes it backfires, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I see the good in people, and I will choose to only see the good in people, and I would like to continue inspiring other women, other people, and growing my business. It brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that. We will be definitely putting all your information at the bottom of this Spotify podcast.
Yeah.
And what is your TikTok name?
It is Julia Zieto.
Okay.
It's very hard to pronounce.
Yeah,
my
so
last
it's
name.
Zieto?
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Okay. Which we'll put the link on the bottom of the podcast as well, because I think that's really important for any listener that's needing some kick-ass motivation.
Yeah.
If you want to feel inspired.
Yes. Julia's your girl.
Yeah.
And it's fun
It's
too.
it's a fierce.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
love
bit
that.
of fierceness in it. And
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I needed that. That's the energy that I needed to get through what I want. Like, I had to
Absolutely.
get through. So
Yeah.
somebody might resonate.
Exactly. Someone that needs a bit of fierceness in their life, in their world. And that's beautiful because, I think, like you said earlier, we're all so different.
Yeah.
We don't want to be just like that person or just like that person. It's like find what, brings you joy, and find what resonates with you and bring that out.
100%.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And that's literally that saying, find what feels good and do more of that.
Yeah.
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 because that's what works for you. If it makes you happy, brings you joy, like that's what's most important.
Absolutely.
I guess, and that's your frequency, isn't it? Like that we're using.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you attract things. It's through gratitude and like that joy and that feeling of joy. And if you stick to that, like that's how you manifest.
Vibrates out.
Yeah.
Love it.
And one of the, because also like, you know, hearing you share about your relationship breaking and your beautiful dad, finding your beautiful dad, you know, sharing these things in a safe space is doable, but it's not easy to, you know, have been there, done that, you know, move through to the other side. But there's this energy now, like in what you're saying, embracing that fierceness, where you've hold the experience in a forgiving, loving space.
Yeah.
But you're not living it, repeating it every day. You've let go of it all, and you're stepping into this big, wide open expanse.
Yeah.
That's what I feel around what's ahead for Julia.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think if I was going to leave with one message, I think holding on to things doesn't serve you whatsoever. Like, if I was to hold on to the anger of my relationship, the anger that I had with like my dad, or with how it ended up so badly, like if I held on to that,
because you cleaned that house. I mean,
I'm
you
still
were in there with
clean. I'm
gloves.
still we are
not
still going through it. Like there
details.
6 skip-ins worth of things,
Stuff.
and we're like snakes and spiders and like things that if you knew me back a few years ago, I would not be doing this. But here I am, and you know, like you grow as a person, but you can't hold on to the past, the anger. You can't hold on to that if you want to grow. And you're not serving anyone. It's not doing any justice to anyone. You're just holding that burden. So you're better off letting it go.
Like your shoulders and your hips did when you were feeling
let
those
it go
aches
and
pain.
move forward and appreciate it and be grateful for everything that's happened.
What a beautiful way to end.
Yeah.
That's really
In
lovely.
gratitude.
Yeah, in gratitude. Thank you for coming on,
Thank
Girl
you.
Awakening. It's been really beautiful, and I know our listeners are going to get heaps out of this podcast.
Oh, I hope it helps someone in some way. And
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank you.
love you, Julia.
Love ya.
Thank you for listening, and remember, all links to our guest are in the notes. Leave us some comment here or message us on Instagram how our guest today connected with you, or perhaps something you wish to share. A special thank you to the blissful Ksenia Luki for our theme song. Joe and I will be with you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
She teaches me lessons, and boy does she sing. Her voice sways like a hummingbird, flies like a shooting star. She whispers, you were never born, so you will never die.